I just wanted to make a follow-up video based on this additional information about this dog. So in the last video, we were talking about this dog who panics on leash about 5 minutes into the walk, is clawing and climbing the person, trying to flight, get away. And the person has shared that that their dog is diagnosed with an anxiety disorder and that they're working with a veterinary behaviorist. And so with that additional context, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I might help dogs who are panicking as soon as they're outside. In fact, I just got out of a session where I'm working with a dog where we are doing exactly this. As soon as the dog goes outside, he is over threshold. And that's because outside has a lot of scary things. And so he's hyper vigilant, hyper alert, highly on guard, even if there aren't people, sounds, cars, other dogs, skateboards, bikes there at the moment. And so first, we're working on some skills, right? We introduced things like a flight cue. We have a whole playlist on flight cues, including instructions on how to teach one. But this is teaching the dog how to get away from things that are scary. We're also working on skills of self-regulation. So in helping the dog access behaviors that help bring down stress levels, we set them up to practice those behaviors in more stressful situations, sniffing, licking, chewing. And so part of that is being done with our flight cue works. Part of that is incorporating outlets for species typical behaviors that focus on sniffing, licking, chewing throughout the day. Some of that is working on behaviors just like find its and scatter feeds in that way. We're working on things like on-off switch games, and we have a whole playlist on those to build self-regulation through play. And then again, we're still not even outside yet at this point, or maybe we're just in the yard, but we're not going out, we're not on leash. We might also add in some noise desensitization, so we're tackling the noise phobia and the noise aspect of the triggers, again from inside the safety of the house. And then in the lesson that I was just working in, we were at the stage where we've introduced engage, disengage, and we're playing that from the back door with the glass door part closed, and the back door goes out into the backyard, which is the safer space. We are working our way up to doing this at actually in the backyard and at the front window, and then eventually it will be the front door with the dog on leash further back from the door, and the door just cracked. So we're just dealing with increased volume, not increased sight, and we're increasing that distance. And for this dog, that is the order of things that it's going to get increasingly challenging. So we want that to be in the order of easiest to hardest, increasing the challenge as the dog is successful for the individual dog. Oh, and another really big piece is we're already working on resilience. So we've worked very hard on increasing agency for this dog. A lot of consent testing, a lot of working in other choices, a lot of learning to see his lower level signs of distress and responding to those. A lot of ensuring that he has ways to communicate his needs. That agency really increases well-being, it increases resilience to stress, it reduces stress overall. So there are so many things that we can do to help the dog become successful in being outside before we ever go outside. And a lot of times this becomes really tricky. It feels very difficult to work on because we think, well, my dog is panicking as soon as they're across the line for the front door or as soon as I grab the leash. So how do I work under threshold on these concerns? And that's where it can be really helpful to have a behavior consultant, because our job is to just break down this criteria more finely than you might think possible. And then before you know it, your dog is in their thinking brain doing things that before would have sent them to a panic. And we're measuring the dog's ability to succeed if we're headed in the right direction by things like decreased stress response, increased resilience, increased ability to self-regulate. And we're seeing in these setups that it's easier and easier for them to just be in the green zone learning. And that's when we know it's okay to increase the challenge.